So now that we've talked about the Great War, or World War I, as it's more commonly known, we do need to talk about some of the issues that are in the Treaty of Versailles, which ends the war, and are going to lead to even more conflict as we keep moving forward. So, the Treaty of Versailles itself is kind of an issue just in general. So, Germany isn't invited to the peace talks at all. In fact, a lot of the nations that had been involved in World War I aren't invited to Versailles when they're talking through the different things that will go into the treaty. So Russia, which had played a pretty big role in the war, yeah, they had to drop out halfway through, but there was a whole revolution going on in their country. They're not invited, and neither are any of the smaller allied nations. So really, the four countries that are there to talk through what the treaty is going to look like are France, Italy, Great Britain, and the US. So Germany isn't invited to talk about what's going to happen to them now that the war's over. And neither are even any of the allies that we have in Europe, aside from these other, really large, powerful countries. So through the Treaty of Versailles, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening to Germany, which is going to lead to the uprising of some pretty big names like Hitler in Germany. So in Germany itself, there is a lot of destruction just in general because a lot of this war has been fought there. But with the treaty, Germany is forced to also accept billions of dollars worth of reparations that they have to pay to other countries because of damages that the war has done. Now, Germany's damaged itself, but they have to fix their own mess and be paying for other countries to fix the mess too. They're stripped of their colonies from around the world. The whole scramble for Africa, Germany did have some colonies there, so those get taken away from them. They also have to accept blame for the war, which leaves them completely humiliated. Remember, Germany didn't really start this thing. It was a whole, piling on of other events, and then the assassination of the Austro-Hungarian Archduke that really kind of started this. But Germany has to accept blame for the war because they are forced to sign this treaty, otherwise the war is going to keep going. So there's a lot of resentment from the German people, as well as a lot of instability in Germany itself. They lose their military, they're very destroyed, their economy is going to be basically in the toilet. So they're just a not too good place to be at this moment. And because of all of this instability and the resentment, it's going to lead to the rise of fascism and Hitler, which we'll get into a little bit later on. So one of the things that is created from the Treaty of Versailles is this new organization called the League of Nations. Now, the League of Nations is meant to be a peacekeeping body that's there to kind of look out over the world and try to maintain peace. But they're pretty weak and ineffective, and the United States doesn't even join, which we'll get into, okay? So a lot of countries don't join or aren't even asked to join. So it's just super weak. They can't actually follow through. Now, nationalism is one of the reasons that World War I starts. But after the war is over, even more nationalism is going to spread because a lot of countries are going to want, not a lot of countries, a lot of people are going to want independence. So different ethnic groups that have been kind of grouped together in one country now would prefer to have control over their own country. But we're not really going to be the best at doing that once the war is over either. In the Treaty of Versailles, we are going to create some new countries. We're going to break some places up, create some new ones, try to get some ethnic groups in the same country, but there will be other countries that still have multiple different ethnic groups. So we're just kind of drawing borders. So you can see a couple of things. Austria and Hungary have now been divided. They're not all one big country. We've created Poland. Yugoslavia is there, but it has tons of other like tons of other ethnicities in Yugoslavia that are now going to be fighting with each other. So it's not the best of situations, because it's not like we've actually gone into those areas and asked people, where do you want to be a part of? And it's not just in Europe that we're doing that. It's happening in Asia and Africa too. Germany has been forced to give up their colonies, but it's not like we go in and ask those colonies, okay, what do you want done with you now? They're just going to be absorbed by mainly France and Great Britain and continue to be colonies under now a new country. So as you can see, there are quite a few issues that the Treaty of Versailles is going to leave us with at the end of World War I, and a lot of those are going to continue to snowball and lead us into World War II.